Dear students, anthropology has contributed more in the development of some major theoretical perspectives of sociology such as structuralism and functionalism. Many anthropologists have paid their attention and focused on these perspectives, and many of them are structuralists. Some of the important structuralists are Radcliffe Brown, Frederick Nadel, and Levi Strauss. Let me explain the contributions of these thinkers one by one. First, I would like to deal with theories made by Radcliffe Brown. Alfred Radcliffe Brown was born in Birmingham, England in 1881. He was an anthropologist and contributed for the development of structural functionalism. Structural functionalism views society as an entity composed of functionally interdependent institutions which act together to sustain society. He remembered as father of structural functionalism. He conducted field work among the tribals in Andaman Islands and Western Australia. He studied kinship and social organization of Andaman tribals. He was very much influenced by Emil Durkheim's work. He points out that the studies on primitive societies help to determine generalizations about the social structure. He says that functionalism was trying to explain social stability by discovering how practices fit together to sustain that stability. His contribution to anthropology is more significant. He tried to formulate universal laws underlying in all human societies. According to him, culture is an integrated unit or system. Every element of a culture has a definite function in relation to the whole. The whole and parts of a society are interconnected. Brown believes that by comparing the diverse types of society, laws of a human society could be discovered. He wants to use the comparative method which would enable to test the hypothesis in the field. Radcliffe Brown emphasizes that social relations are real and they are directly observable. He wants to identify social structures and relationships among individuals. He believes that study on total social relations would lead to understanding the total social structure. Anthropologists point out that all tribal societies follow in a unilineal path which is known as evolutionism. They say that commonalities and differences between societies are due to interaction between these societies which is known as diffusionism. But Radcliffe Brown rejects these views and wants to adopt comparative method to find commonality in human societies. Radcliffe Brown explains the role played by institutions in maintaining social structure and social solidarity. According to him, religion exists primarily to enhance social solidarity. Ceremonies are conducted to hold society together. He argues that totems in tribal are symbols of clan solidarity. Different totems are related to each other so that it would lead to tribal solidarity. One necessary condition for survival of a society is the integration of parts. If this integration is maintained by any processes, then it is known as function. Each and every aspect of social structure contributes to the maintenance of necessary solidarity. The important aspects of social structure such as kinship rules and religious rituals are visualized as cultural items by Radcliffe Brown which are essential for solidarity and integration. For example, Brown says that minimal degree of solidarity is achieved through lineage system established in tribal societies. Lineage system provides solution to land disputes because it specifies who has right to own the land and which side of the family it would pass. Through this regulation of property rights, the economic system is integrated. Radcliffe Brown focused more on social needs than biological needs. He views society as a system of relationships maintaining itself through cybernetic feedback. Institutions are regulating these relations and they maintain the society as a system. Out of various social institutions, he focuses more on kinship and descent as they are characterizing of family organization, politics, economy and intergroup relations, especially in tribal societies. According to him, society can be differentiated from biological forms and inorganic matter. Social phenomena are constructed within social level. For him, individuals are relevant and they are replaceable. Individuals are transient occupants of social roles. Radcliffe Brown, who was very much influenced by Durkheim, argues that social phenomena constitute an order of reality that is interdependent of psychological and biological facts. Therefore, social phenomena should be explained only in terms of other social phenomena, not in terms of psychological or biological phenomena. He distinguishes between social structure and social organization. Social structure is based on social relations and social organization is based on how these social relations are organized in everyday life. Radcliffe Brown has also described about totemism. He gives a different view of totemism. Malinowski says that totemism is not a cultural phenomenon and it satisfies basic human needs within the natural world. But Radcliffe Brown points out that totemism is composed of elements that are taken from different areas and institutions. According to him, through totemism, the nature is introduced into the social order. He finds the similarities and differences between species of animals are translated into ideas of friendship and conflict. From this point of view, totemism speaks in its own way of interrelationships and antitheses. He made an analog between social life and organic life in order to explain the concepts of structure and function. According to him, biological organism lives to preserve the continuity of structure, not to preserve the unity of its constituent parts. Over a period of time, cells do not remain the same, but the structural arrangement of the constituent units remains similar. He points out that human beings are essential units and they are connected by a set of social relations into an integrated whole. The continuity of the social structure is not affected by changes in the units. Some individuals die and some others are born. So, the continuity is maintained by the process of social life. Functioning of the social structure reveals that there is a social life. There are similarities between the views of Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski. Both view society as structured into a working unity. Parts within accommodate one another in a way that maintains the whole. The entire system is maintained due to the contribution made by institutions through their functioning. According to the environmental circumstances, these institutions adapt themselves and function to provide a stable social relationship. So far, we have seen the contribution made by Radcliffe Brown towards structural functionalism. Now, let me explain the social structural theory of S.F. Nadel. Siegfried Friedrich Nadel was born in Vienna in 1903. He is Austrian-born British anthropologist. His investigations of African ethnology led him to explore theoretical questions. He went to London School of Economics in 1932, where he had an opportunity to meet anthropologists Seligman and Malinowski. He was a reader in anthropology at the University of Durham in England in 1948 and a professor of anthropology at the University of Canberra in 1950. He has written two theoretical books, namely The Foundations of Social Anthropology and The Theory of Social Structure. In these two works, he has adopted the perspective of structural functionalism. He says that in the study of social structure, we define the positions relative to one another of the component parts. According to him, the parts composing any structure can vary widely in their concrete character without changing the identity of the structure. Nadel views social structure as reality itself. The role system of any society with its given coherence is considered as the matrix of the social structure. Nadel mentions the advantages of structural analysis. Data collected for the structural studies can be used for comparative purpose and it can be converted into quantifiable data. According to him, structure is not static and changeable. Particular social structure at a given time is accurate only for particular period of time. At the same time, structure is not frequently changing as it would lead to chaos and instability. In the analysis of human societies, he says that societies are made up of people and they have boundaries. Societies regulate people living in their territory and impose rules on them in acting towards one another. These rules try to bring uniformity in the behavior of the people when they contact each other. People's behavior and network relationship among actors in their capacity of playing roles to one another provide social structure. Most relationships lack this simple uniformity. Most of the time, people's concrete behavior is diversified and more or less variable depending upon the circumstances. It is changed intentionally. It is consistent only in its general character. In this general character, varying ways of acting are added into a single relationship. For example, friendship is considered by a variety of mutual ways of acting such as helping at a time of crisis, offering advice, celebrating functioning, etc. In parent-child relationship, respectful behavior, actions which show love and care, punitive actions are included. So, majority of social relationships are inclusive type. Each relationship has a whole range of related actions. In all the relationships, there is qualitatively varying modes of behavior. These qualitatively varying modes of behavior are generalized into a type of social relation. In spite of the generalization, there is a need to distinguish relationships. Through linkage or mutuality, all relations signify and they serve to position, order or arrange the human societies. Relationships among individuals are regularly repetitive and there is consistency. This recurrence of relationships is regulated by rules. Thus, individuals become actors in relationship and these actors are enacting roles as per rules. Roles established through relationship bring order among human beings. This orderly arrangement of human being is running through the whole society. Here Nadel quotes Parsons' definition of social structure. Parsons says that social structure is arrived through abstracting from the concrete population and its behavior pattern or network of relationships obtaining between actors in their capacity of playing roles relative to one another. Nadel feels that there are methodological difficulties in this description of social structure. Nadel emphasizes that the phrase playing role relative to one another in the Parsons definition of social structure does not merely mean that social structure is not restricted to face-to-face relationship. Relationships other than face-to-face provide some technical problems. Nadel says that all societies contain number of smaller groups with them. These groups are also arranged clearly as role-playing actors. When social structure is defined, not only relationships between actors but also interrelation between groups and subgroups should be taken for account. Even in this point, Nadel points out some difficulties in defining social structure. Subgroups within society consists of people in determinate, stable relationship. Subgroups are bounded units and they have areas of bounded relationships. But at the same time, these subgroups are not isolated units but divisions of larger society. So, they must exhibit overall pattern. The interrelation of subgroups reflects orderliness in the structure of the whole society. The bounded subgroups are brought together through co-activities taken place among them. This single coactivity cannot be translated into single relationship. So, coactivity is to be broken up into distinct relationships according to the role played by participants. Nadel explains the phrase pattern and network relations. According to him, pattern denotes orderly distribution of relationship on the basis of similarity and dissimilarity. The term network indicates the interactions among individuals. Groups and subgroups have an area of bounded relationship. As there are possibilities for repetitive relations in these groups, relationship is distributed effectively and they exhibit more uniformity and similarity. For example, similar relations are found among members of clans. These similar relations disappear and are replaced by different relations at the group boundaries. Nadel points out that pattern will go together with a network. According to Nadel, network means the interlocking of relationships. He emphasizes that network does not only indicate the link between persons, it also explains how this link is strengthened by the word relationship. This interpersonal relation affects the relations happening adjacent. This interrelated or interlocking of relation creates also an effective interdependence and helps to emerge system. Nadel explains that distributive patterns occur when a society is constituted with a fixed number of subdivisions. This fixed number through its constancy helps to characterize the pattern. Moiety system in tribal societies and caste system in Indian society can be mentioned as example for this. Another example is club or association with a fixed membership. This fixed number of subgroups has specific duties towards all others. After examining the views of S.F. Nadel on social structure, now I describe the theories of Claude Lévi-Strauss. Claude Lévi-Strauss was born in Brussels in 1908 and passed away in France in 2009. He was a French anthropologist and ethnologist. He is known as father of modern anthropology. He studied law and philosophy. He acted as a visiting professor of sociology at the University of Sao Paulo in 1935. While he was in Brazil, he involved in ethnographic studies along with his wife, who was professor of ethnology in the same university. This experience gave a professional identity to Lévi-Strauss as an anthropologist. He conducted several expeditions into remote areas of South America and studied the customs of local tribes and developed theories and methods. He focused more on common aspects of human societies. He has contributed a lot of structuralism and he is the premier representative of that school. He has made a greater influence even on his critics. He has written a book, The Elementary Structure of Kinship. It is one of the most important anthropological works on kinship. He says that wider kinship organization is based on the alliance between two families. Kinship is formed when women from one group married men from another. Lévi-Strauss compares a wide range of historically interrelated cultures and finds that many of them have a rule that individuals should marry their cross cousin. This comparison helps him to group all possible kinship systems into three basic kinship structures. They are elementary, semi-complex and complex. Elementary structures are based on positive marriage rules. It prescribes rules which specify whom a person must marry. But complex structures are based on negative marriage rules which specify whom one must not marry. Semi-complex structures consist of both positive and negative rules. According to him, family acts as a building block of kinship and alliances between families create social structure. In his book Structural Anthropology, he considers culture as a system of symbolic communication. He has studied the mythologies of primitive tribes. He says that These mythologies display remarkably subtle system of logic. He used tribal customs and myths and explained that human behavior is based on logical systems. These logical systems may vary from society to society, but possess a common substructure. He says that linguistics, communications and logical methods can be used to understand fundamental social systems. He has contributed to the theory of myth. He says that there is an intellectual process involved in mythical thought. He says that structural properties of myth and ritual may be shared by several tribes within a cultural area. These studies have helped a lot to understand more about culture and civilization. Structural anthropology is based on Levi-Strauss' idea that people think about the world in terms of opposite terms such as black and white, high and low, night and day, inside and outside, life and death, hot and cold, raw and cooked, animal and human. Through these binary concepts, humanity makes sense of world. He discovers the universal features of all tribal societies. Through these opposite terms, a culture of a specific society can be understood. He explains how people develop opposite ideas and how they get resolution. In this context, he speaks about dual organizations found among tribals in South America. These organizations represent opposites and their synthesis. According to Levi-Strauss, culture is a dialectic process. He says that human thought produces cultural categories. In 1972, he published Structuralism and Ecology, in which he explains that culture is composed of hidden rules that govern behavior of the people. Participants understand these rules, but they are unable to articulate. He believes that structural anthropology can identify these rules. Through identification of binary oppositions, these rules can be discovered. According to him, structure of human thought process is the same in all cultures and it exists in the form of binary oppositions. These thought processes can be discovered by examining cultural categories such as kinship, myth and language. Behind all cultural expressions, a hidden reality exists. Structural anthropologists can find out the meaning involved in human thought through cultural actions. He emphasizes that culture must be understood in terms of their relationship to the entire system. It is based on idea that the whole is greater than parts. Levi-Strauss is considered with the universal aspect of social behavior. According to him, all cultural institutions are projecting the basic social and mental processes. So, anthropological theories can be applied to all societies. He is not interested in the nature of phenomena, but he is concerning the relations among these phenomena. So, he has developed his attention with regard to the major aspects of culture such as language, kinship, social organization, magic, religion and art. He emphasizes the close relationship between fieldwork and theory. Ethnographic studies must analyze the microscopic aspect of human society. The subjective aspects of institutions must be observed and described. Generalization can be done by studying different societies and doing comparisons among them. His approach is holistic and integrative. He emphasizes the revolutionary role of structural linguistics in social sciences. It provides a model of scientific method for anthropology. According to him, both language and culture are built of oppositions. Language is treated as conceptual model for other aspects of culture. He deals with the dialectical nature of relationship between kinship terminology and prescribed attitude toward him. Levi-Strauss has analyzed the totems of various tribes and made an elaborate description about them. He points out the difficulties in the study of totemism, especially from the viewpoint of structural study. He has devised a scheme to illustrate the abstract polarities. He views totemism a phenomenon of culture. The basic opposition or relationship is between nature and culture. On the one hand, there are certain realities in nature such as animals or plants. On the other hand, there are various individuals and groups who identify themselves with particular animal or plant in culture. He distinguishes 4 kinds of relationship between nature and culture within totemism. 1. A species of animal or plant identified with a particular group. 2. A species of animal or plant identified with an individual. 3. A particular animal or plant with an individual. A particular animal or plant identified with a group. The first kind of combination can be seen among Australian tribes in which natural things are associated with cultural groups. In second kind of combination, there is individual totemism which can be seen among North American Indian tribes. The third kind of combination can be seen among Melanesian tribe in which individual child is thought of as the incarnation of a particular animal or plant that is found and consumed by the mother at the time of pregnancy. The fourth type of combination is found among African tribes where definite animals form the object of group patronage and veneration. Lévi-Strauss also speaks of matrilineal clan totemism and patrilineal clan totemism. According to him, these two are in no way heterogeneous, but they are mutually complementary. These two types of totemism are different means of connecting the material and the spiritual world. Together, they express the relationship between nature and society. Thus, Lévi-Strauss has given a detailed account of various aspects of tribal society such as kinship, myths, language, culture, clan and totem. So far, we have seen the contribution of structuralists such as Radcliffe Brown, S.F. Nadel and Lévi-Strauss. They emphasize that elements of culture must be understood in terms of their relationship to a larger structure. Cultural elements are not explanatory, but they are parts of meaningful system and they are understood with respect to their location within the structure as a whole. Contributions of these thinkers gave rise to structural movement. In 1960, this movement was coming into its own and offered a single unified approach to human life that would spread to many disciplines.